Again, hi, this is Andrew Culkin. I'm the author of Amanda, a cautionary tale of alcoholism. It's the unforgettable journey of family resiliency and loss. That's the name of the book. It's about my wife's 20-year decline with alcoholism and her untimely death a little over 2.5 years ago at this point. Now, what I want to talk about today are the 5 things that an alcoholic has got to say either to themselves or to a group setting in counseling, either an AA meeting or in some group situation, but they have to say it in here and they got to say it verbally, okay? These are 5 things they have to say to determine if they have any chance at all at a long-term recovery, short-term recovery and long-term recovery. But it has to start with these 5 things. Number 1, they have to say, I need help. They have to have that self-realization, actualization, that their life has come to a certain point that they need outside help, that they can no longer do it to themselves, do it by themselves. They can no longer be the negative influence in their own life and in the lives of the people around them. And they've come to the conclusion that they no longer want to continue with the life that they're currently living, okay? And they have the ability to say, I need help. I'm willing to make changes by going to a rehab or by seeking outside counsel or by seeking outside help. Something greater than myself is going to need me. I need assistance in getting better, just like going to a doctor. Okay, they have to say that. Number 2, they need to make sincere apologies that are success-based only. They can't just give lip service. I'm sorry for X past indiscretions or actions. You know, I'm sorry I got a DUI. I'm sorry I got in that car accident. I'm sorry I drove through the front of the house. I'm sorry that I have been unreliable and inconsistent, okay? Saying sorry, it can only be taken seriously. Apologies can only be taken seriously after months or even years of sobriety. If someone's saying sorry the day after they got drunk, well, it's lip service. It's really meaningless because no work has been done in order to have achieved the level where you can even make an apology. That makes sense. I'm sorry is utterly meaningless unless it has been preceded by a proven track record of sobriety. Now, something like 2 years of sobriety is generally seen as a possible success story. And even someone who's gone years and years without drinking can still have relapse. That's why you get things like 5, 10, 20, 25, and 30-year pins, because as in previous videos, you're an alcoholic until the day you die. It's a disease that's going to be with you until, really forever, and if you're able to manage it. But the first step in managing it is doing these 5 steps. I need help and making apologies. But you can only make apologies after you've achieved enough success in the world of sobriety to be able to sincerely make those apologies and to act on those apologies accordingly, okay? 3, the third thing that an alcoholic has to say to have any hope of success is, I'm going to die unless I make some changes in my life. Now, you have to realize, things like rehabs and counseling, all of these things are great, but the person has to understand that if they don't seek help, they're going to live a much shorter life. And the average alcoholic, their life is shortened by, almost by 1/3 on average. So someone who would live to be 85 is going to be dead in their 50s, for example. But I'm going to die unless I'm going to make a change. This is singularly one of the most important elements of recovery. Having some element of self-actualization is the first step at any possibility of recovery. breaking through the barrier of self-denial must take place before wasting a single moment on fighting this disease. In other words, if you don't realize that you're going to die by your actions, literally, you're killing yourself in a most horrible and gruesome way until you realize that and understand that you have to have different activities. You can no longer continue on the path that you are. And if you don't, you're going to die. And when you realize that, that's a very important step towards success. You know, number 4, goes without saying, I'm going to my AA meeting tonight. If a person isn't working on themselves, if they're not putting in the work, if they go to a rehab, if they've gone to, expensive hospitals and counseling, but they don't do any of the follow-up work, then everything prior to that, all of that rehab and all that, sobriety, maybe 4 months, maybe 6 months, it goes out the door unless you're continuing the process of recovery. If a person and that's individual for each person. That's completely different for each person. Some person might need to go to an AA meeting every couple of weeks, maybe once, maybe 5 times a week. It depends on where that person is. Maybe they need to go every day. Maybe they need to go twice a day. It just depends on where that person is. But they need to do the work. And as a metaphor, I'm going to my AA meeting tonight means they're working on themselves and they're focusing on the goal at hand, which is continued sobriety for the rest of their life. Okay, unless an alcoholic is willing to do the work and walk the talk, they're literally wasting their time and the time of every other person in their life. Inpatient rehab without constant, never-ending follow-up and access to like-minded alcoholics is a complete waste of time unless you're working on your disease. You could be going backwards. Follow-up AA meetings is a discipline that must be followed until the person has lived their natural life. And it's something that you could be there for 25 or 30 years sober, and you have reached a level of sobriety that most people hope to achieve. But again, you can even relapse at any time. And also, if you don't have the mentality that I can never have a drink again in my life, your possibility of relapse is almost 100%. Number 5 of the 5 things an alcoholic must say to themselves if they have any chance of recovery is, I'm going to talk to my Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor. Okay, anybody that, and again, this is a metaphor for you need an accountability partner. Okay, no matter what you're doing. Now, loved ones can help you with this, but it's more important to have someone who's outside the realm of your family, someone where the relationship may not be as significant. It may not be a loved one. Having to follow through and connect with a sponsor is one of the most vital exercises that an alcoholic can do. Unless an alcoholic has a fellow alcoholic, specifically as a mentor, they have not fully committed to the process of recovery. A sponsor is one of the most important links to long-term sobriety, and it's absolutely vital to recovery. If you're thinking about drinking, if you're thinking about, I can just have a drink, I can deal with it, this is where you need the phone number to call somebody right away and explain to them you're having these feelings. And the accountability partner will walk you through the process and tell you the ramifications if you go down that road again. You need an accountability partner. You need outside counseling like AAA. You have to understand that if you don't take this road and are on the road to recovery and work on your own recovery, that you're going to die. You have to get to the point where you can apologize to both yourself and to your loved ones and to everyone who ever somehow got in your path of destruction when you were at your worst. But most importantly, you have to realize that you do need help. And when you understand that and are able to say it to yourself and to everyone around you, then you're on the road to recovery. And there's so many people that want to get you there, and so many people that want to help you on that road. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.